Hello, my name is Rebecca Cuzzetto. I'm a BSN student at Indiana State University. My presentation will be focused on children ages 0 to 36 months in Kitsap County, Washington, who are not experiencing herd immunity from certain infectious diseases. My aim will be to provide education regarding the benefits of herd immunity for this population. As stated, my population at risk will be children ages 0 to 36 months without herd immunity. I will give a description of what immunizations are and how they are introduced to the population, as well as the importance of maintaining an immunization schedule to keep vaccine validity. I will explain the concept of herd immunity and its benefits to a community. I will also discuss why more and more parents are declining immunizations for their children, thus explaining the lack of herd immunity. I will give specific evidence of the importance of vaccines by highlighting the U.S. polio crisis, as well as give education to viewers on how to access vaccines and protect their children with herd immunity. So, what are immunizations? Immunization is a term used to describe when an individual is made immune against an infectious disease, which is usually done by receiving a vaccine. A vaccine works by imitating the targeted infectious disease, which triggers the body's natural immune system and forces it to develop natural immunity against that specific disease in the future. These fake diseases are inactivated and therefore do not pose the same threat to the body as the disease it is imitating. The FDA is the organization responsible for ensuring the safety, effectiveness, and availability of all vaccines. Prior to release to the public, vaccines undergo 3 separate extensive clinical trials for safety measure. It is important to note that immunizations are given on a time-sensitive schedule. If a vaccine is given too early or late in the series, it is not counted as valid and therefore will not offer immunity to the individual. Herd immunity, often called community immunity, is the concept of a large population of vaccinated individuals offering protection and immunity to more vulnerable, unvaccinated individuals. This includes children too young to receive certain vaccines. The biggest benefit of herd immunity is, obviously, the extra protection provided to these vulnerable individuals and the decline of occurrence of infectious disease in that community. I chose this specific population at risk because they are the population most affected by lack of herd immunity. Children in this age group receive the most immunizations in an individual immunization lifespan schedule. However, many infectious diseases cannot be vaccinated against until the individual reaches a certain age. This is true of the MMR vaccine, which protects against measles, mumps, and rubella. This particular vaccine cannot be given until the age of 15 months. This leaves children below this age at risk for exposure and infection to these diseases. It has become more and more common for diseases such as these to start popping up in communities. This shows evidence of more communities being under-immunized and not offering protection to its most vulnerable community members. The question is, why are parents choosing not to vaccinate their children? Or why is there a lack of herd immunity in this population? It is a growing trend, deemed the anti-vaxxer movement, where parents refuse vaccines for their children. Reasons given for this decision include claims of vaccines causing autism, made very popular by actress Jenny McCarthy. This claim, however, is false, with no provable scientific evidence linking vaccines to autism. Many parents also believe the risks of vaccines, including negative vaccine reactions, outweigh their benefits. This, also, has been proven scientifically false, as the proportional ratio of vaccine effectiveness is grossly larger than the number of cases of adverse reactions to vaccines. Many times, parents who lack education on vaccine administration are unaware of this ratio. Another reason for under-immunized communities, not related to anti-vaxxer beliefs, is non-adherence to immunization schedules, with vaccines being allowed to be administered either too early or late, marking invalid immunization. This is a problem to be directly addressed with provider-clinic policy. To model the risk of what an unvaccinated community looks like, I will use the example of the polio crisis in the United States, particularly between 1940 and the mid-1950s. Polio, clinically named poliomyelitis, is a highly contagious and infectious virus which targets the nervous system by invading the individual's brain and spinal cord. Worldwide, polio is responsible for millions of deaths, as well as millions more survivors left with crippling effects, such as paralysis and muscle deformity, with most of the victims being children ages 5 and under. It is spread via infected feces by the fecal-oral route, making areas with poor sanitation especially susceptible. The year 1952 in the United States saw the largest number of recorded cases of polio at 58,000 people. 3,145 fatalities were reported, and 21,269 reported cases were left with severe paralysis. Surviving children were left with physical handicap for the remainder of their lifetime. It wasn't until the year 1953 when Jonas Salk, an American medical researcher, declared he had discovered an inactivated vaccine to fight polio. This vaccine was released in 1955 to the public and saw astounding results. By 1979, just 24 short years after the release of the first polio vaccine, polio was officially declared eradicated in the United States. For his contributions to the U.S. population, Salk was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Jimmy Carter in 1977 to signify the U.S. population's freedom from polio. Vaccines are made readily available to all community members. Immunization for children is supported by the vast majority of pediatricians. Most children will receive their immunizations at their local pediatrician's office or public health center during their well child exams. Pharmacies also offer certain vaccines to be given to the public. Most insurance plans fully cover vaccine administration. This includes government-assisted insurance programs, such as Medicare and Medicaid. In reiteration of earlier points, and in closing, the vaccination of individuals is an important factor in the health of the community. By vaccinating children, parents are not only protecting them from infectious diseases, but also offering protection to more vulnerable populations with herd immunity, including children ages 0 to 36 months. Jeffrey Kluger, the author of Splendid Solutions, a book about Jonas Salk, said it well when he said, "Vaccines save lives. Fear endangers them. It's a simple message parents need to keep hearing." I would like to thank my audience for their time, and my hope is that you walk away from my presentation with more education regarding immunizations and herd immunity. Thank you.